Are you a beginner or intermediate guitar player who is struggling with the dreaded F chord? In this video, I'll share 5 tips that will accelerate your path to playing F chords with ease. And if that sounds good to you, smash that like button and stay tuned. What's up, alt rockers? America's favorite guitar playing ginger is back with some more guitar related content. At this point in your guitar journey, you've probably learned to play a lot of open chords and possibly power chords as well. Everything's going really well except for that f***ing F chord. You're not alone. Most new guitar players find the F chord to be the most challenging chord to learn. It personally took me many weeks to learn how to play the chord smoothly in songs. Let's dive in to fixing your F chord issues. Tip number 1, start on an electric guitar. I can't emphasize enough how important I think it is for beginning guitar players specifically to be practicing on an electric guitar instead of an acoustic. The strings on an electric guitar are thinner, making them easier to play and bend without pain. And most importantly, the action on an electric is lower than on an acoustic, meaning the strings are closer to the fretboard, which will make them easier to push down. This is particularly important when playing the F bar chord. Tip number 2, start with little f variations. There are ways to work up to playing a full F bar chord. Let's take a look. The F major bar chord uses all 6 strings in the chord. It looks and sounds like this. We can work our way up to playing a full F major bar chord by starting with partial forms. This is where we play the chord using less than 6 strings. Let's look at this first partial form that I'll call the baby F. This is going to be 3rd fret on the 4th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and 1st fret on the 2nd string. When you're comfortable with that baby F, we can move on to what I'll call the child F, which is where you're going to lay your index finger down so it not only covers the 1st fret of the 2nd string, but it also covers the 1st fret of the 1st string. And when you're comfortable with that one, we can move on to the adolescent F. Here, we're going to shift our ring finger over to the 5th string and put our pinky in the place that the ring finger was at. At this point now, we have 3rd fret 5th string, 3rd fret 4th string, 2nd fret 3rd string, and 1st frets on 2nd and 1st string. Playing strings 1 through 5. It's important to understand that these are all variations of the same F major chord. The baby F, the child F, and the adolescent F. You can use these variations of the F major chord in songs until you're comfortable playing the full F bar chord. Tip number 3, practice easier bar chords first. Playing a bar chord on the 1st fret is the hardest bar chord to play. It's where the strings are closest to the nut and therefore under the most tension. Try moving your bar chord shape up to the 7th fret. This is actually a B chord, but you'll find that pushing all the strings down here will be much easier. As your hand and fingers get stronger, you can slowly move the bar chord down the neck to the 6th fret, 5th fret, until eventually you're strong enough to play the F bar chord at fret number 1. When you're practicing your bar chords higher up the neck, you can strum the bar chord in full, but then also make sure you play each string individually. So you can make sure all of the strings are ringing out. It doesn't do you any good to play the chord if you're getting a bunch of string buzz, like this. It's usually the B string that gets the buzz when you're trying to play bar chords. And that's simply because your bar isn't strong enough yet to push down all the strings that it needs to. If you're having trouble getting all of the notes to ring out, try this. Try rolling your first finger up and rotating it a bit. So instead of putting all of the pressure flat on your finger, try rolling it up. So you're playing with this side of your finger instead of the bottom of your finger. You can see how my finger rolls just slightly when I start to put pressure on my bar. It makes it much easier to push all of the strings down. I find that beginners typically find this information helpful, but it will take time to get used to, so keep practicing. Tip number 4, play it like Hendrix. Do you have big hands with long fingers? Consider playing the F bar chord like Jimi Hendrix did. Play the adolescent F we talked about earlier and wrap your thumb around the neck to play the first fret on the 6th string. Playing the 6th string with your thumb is usually uncomfortable at first, but it can be a useful technique for you to learn. Personally, I find playing the F chord this way more difficult, even after years of practice and experience. But some guitar players find it easier. Experiment and figure out what works best for you. Tip number 5, cheat. If your F bar chord struggles really have you down, we can try playing the F chord in a completely different way. Warning, this might sound confusing. The F bar chord we've been playing is actually the E-shaped F major bar chord. This specific F major bar chord is played at the 1st fret. There are other fretboard positions besides the 1st fret where we can play an F major chord. One of the easiest examples would be to move up to the 8th fret and play the A-shape F major bar chord. So that's 5th string, 8th fret, and then 10th fret on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, and then your bar finger catches the 8th fret of the 1st string. You can also simplify this version of the chord by eliminating the 1st string. So now we'll play the 5th string, 8th fret with your index finger, and then you'll use your ring finger to bar the 10th fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. A bonus F major variation that I'll show you is the F major 7 chord. So this is not an F major chord exactly, it's an F major 7. And it looks just like that adolescent version of F that we were playing earlier. But now, instead of laying your first finger on the 1st string, we lift it off and let the 1st string ring open. So we have 3rd fret 5th string, 3rd fret 4th string, 2nd fret 3rd string, 1st fret 2nd string, and an open 1st string. I personally really like the sound of an F major 7 chord, and it can replace the F major in some cases, but not all cases. So you'll have to experiment with the song that you're playing and see if it works. And remember, these cheats are not an excuse for you to give up on your F major bar chord completely. Keep practicing and it will improve with time. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you have more questions about playing an F bar chord, Ask your questions in the comments as well. And while you're down there, click the subscribe button to join the congregation and get more guitar-related content every single week. Thanks so much for joining me, and remember, hug the gingers in your life, because we do, in fact, have souls.